Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of The Deen Show on location. And we've interviewed all sorts of Muslims all over the world. I told you if there's a Muslim on the moon, we'd be interviewing him. But I found a Muslim from Romania, a Romanian Muslim loving Islam. Jibreel, Assalamu alaikum. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. Good to be here. Alhamdulillah.
I want to ask you a few questions, inshallah.
All right.
So, in a predominantly Christian, Orthodox, Catholic Romania, how did you find Islam?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Actually, it's a long story. I'll try to make as short as possible. Yes, Romania is predominantly Orthodox and some Catholic. That's my background. Most of my family was, raising me that way. Christianity is part of the culture there. It's not something that you just choose. You're raised into it. We were having Bible class, starting grade 1. And I'm not talking about here just your normal average Bible study. Like you actually go in depth and you and I developed actually a love for faith, for Christianity. And I used to be one of the only ones in my family used to go to church. Actually, believe it or not, grade 1, I would go myself to church, and even pick some of the kids in the neighborhood and take them to church,
Mm-hmm.
And even the parents were around, like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
So it was I developed a love for God and interest in faith. To the point where I used to cross the road, I used to cross myself, I was very, very into it. And I was introduced to Islam very early, actually. Part of our history classes in Romania, we have a long history with the Turks, with the Muslim Turks, and we were always taught that they're disbelievers. They believe in this God, Allah, who is a different God, who is just someone out there who is totally different, right? So we were kind of taught not to like them. I wouldn't hate them, but not to like them. And the Romanians were always praised, and they defeated Turks, and but obviously history knows that.
So the Muslims were called Turks.
Yeah, the Muslims were called Turks, and we were memorizing even now I know some poetry in Romania, kind of against the Muslim Turks and praising the Romanians and the Christian armies and how they defeated in certain battles the Turks. So it was very nationalistic type.
Nationalistic, that's part of the culture.
It was part of the culture, and so I had that preconceived idea. When push comes to shove, different things happen in my life, and I kind of, when I came to Canada, which was 1998, I was introduced to Muslims. I actually finally got to meet a Muslim, and I was like...
Was it a Turkish Muslim?
It was not a Turkish Muslim. It was actually a Bosnian Muslim.
Bosnian Muslim.
Bosnian Muslim. And, I met other Muslims, Arab Muslims, and I've seen these, a variety of people from different backgrounds, all being Muslim, all talking about the same, this Allah, this God, Allah, and I was like, who is this, Allah? So finally, slowly, I realized, first of all, that some of the things that they were saying about Muslims, being pagan and, bad people, that they were not. They were actually very nice people and good people, and they're actually praying Allah, and they prayed in a manner which, I really, really became to love from the beginning. When I would, see my friend praying, I felt like I was missing something myself in my prayers, So actually, at one point in my life, when I was still Christian, I used to get down and make sujood, because I felt like that's like closer to God than than just my normal prayers while kneeling or while just crossing my hands, right?
Meaning they would like fall on their face and pray to God.
Right.
Come up all the way down.
Right, they would make what's called a full prostration, which is weird because it's also described of Jesus, peace be upon him, of doing it in the Gospels, right? So he did that. So I really became to love that way of prayer, and I started being very interested in Islam. Trying to understand a little bit about Islam, trying to see, and a lot of the things that I knew before about Islam were just misconceptions, and there came to a point where I was really I would say it was the guidance of God that really made me question my own faith. I was really into different things happened in my life. Basically, I mean, I wouldn't like to flaunt it on.
You were like just everybody else, just chasing the material world, satisfying the flesh, and
Okay, if you want to put it, yeah, I was drinking, and even though I didn't like drinking, but I was trying to be in conformity with my friends and everyone.
It's the past, but it's reality. That's what people are caught up into, just having a good time, get all you can.
That's what it was with Canada. Coming here, my parents kind of divorced, and basically certain things happened that really opened my mind. Right?
Something missing now. You were missing something.
There was a lot missing from the beginning, actually, and now I realize that, and that void was very deep right now when my life was even more empty because my family was broken apart, and I was culturally confused coming to Canada, right? Like the culture was different, right? So I was having identity issues. I was like, I mean, who am I really? And what is that same question that everyone asks. What am I here for?
The nightclubs and the drinking wasn't, and all that stuff wasn't satisfying answering your questions,
Okay.
right?
I turned to the female side for some time, and that supposedly gave some took my mind off it for some time, but no, it didn't. The nightlife and the drinking, which I didn't like, the drugs I never did because I couldn't. I was just a sports guy all the time, so I couldn't do. But the nightlife never did. I used to go back in my bed at night, and I remember being drunk and just laying on the back and just sitting almost nightly. Every night I would say this, like, okay, what did I just do? Like I went, I laughed, I had fun. Yes, I got drunk, and I danced, but I just feel like so empty. What did I do? I mean, I don't feel happy.
Yeah.
Everyone's laughing, like it's so fake because you're there and you pretend you're having a good time. But I would go home and I would literally be like what? I don't know, like, can I see myself like this in 5 years, 10 years? What am I really doing? So I was very, very empty, and I was definitely looking for something. And then it came to the point where I was involved with a certain girl, and we had some issues in our lives. I remember that one night very well actually, that I asked God to I fell on my doing that sujood, that prostration to
The way the Muslims prayed, you copied that, you fell on your face, you humbled yourself.
I humbled myself, and I remember I was crying because I was so depressed. I was just like, man, like, I don't know, I'm not happy, I mean, I came from a third world country where everyone's dreaming to come to Canada, everyone's dreaming to come to the United States, right? That's like the utopia, you want to go there. But when you reach there, it's like, okay, a year, you're just like, wow, nice buildings, nice cars, nice clothes. But then after some time, you're just like, okay, is that it? Like, where's all that hype that everyone's talking about? So I humbled myself and I put my head down to the ground. I was just depressed. I was like, man, I don't know who I am. And I said, oh God, I'm not happy with, girlfriend, this, that, money, whatever, you're trying to get. I'm not happy, like, I mean, I need to find a way. What is this way, that you want me to? I was confused, I was just like, and I, even before that, I turned to the Bible to look for answers, but I was confused. And I asked, the Almighty in that position, and I was honestly, I mean, I don't like to show it, but like, I was crying, I was really in a depressed state. And I remember even after some time, I went to the doctor because I felt I was depressed, And I mean, all you see throughout the TV, doctors and Prozac and antidepressants, right? So the first thing that clicked in my mind, let me go to the doctor. I mean, there's something wrong with me.
Let me not, so you don't feel too bad, because I'll guarantee you, there's millions of people that are in that state right now, but they're not doing what you did. You humbled yourself, and you're asking God to guide you. Continue, please.
Yes. So I went to the doctor, and I was like, listen, I wake up in the morning and I have anxiety attacks, like my heart's about to jump out of my chest. I can't go to school anymore. I don't feel like I would go to school. I would look at the school door and I would turn around sometimes, my marks went down. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So the doctor said, here, I'll prescribe you some medicine, right? So I look at them. I'm like, I don't want to take pills, man.
Xanax, was it Xanax?
I don't remember what it was. I just don't want to take pills, there's a greater purpose for me, I can't just stuff myself with pills and, hope it's going to go away. So I remember I went, home and, from this time till the time I found Islam, there was actually a great period of time, I would say about, a year and a half or so, where, it's still emptiness, I try to look for different places. I try to forget about these things. I try to push myself to be someone I wasn't, just so I appear macho and strong, And it worked for some time, you know. I mean, I was doing very well in school. I was becoming very popular on the soccer team, but it's still, you know, it was catching up with me once in a while, right? And just, you know, bringing back those same feelings. And I knew that I'm just covering up, you know. Sooner or later, that reality is gonna come back to haunt me. And I remember exactly the time when I actually gave up Christianity, because of course I turned to it for answers. And I got kind of kicked out from one of the schools, you know, told not to come back, and I went to a Catholic school. And I remember the priest would come in and, you know, tell us about God, and I would just be like, I would have questions for him, right? And unfortunately, I was, you know, my methodology was not the best. You know, I was a bit rude, and you know, I would just keep cutting him off and questioning. I was like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Can you please explain this? Can you please explain that? And you would just say, you have to believe. And I remember that I went one day home, and I think it was Saturday morning. I was sitting in front of the computer, and I was looking through some Bible verses right on the internet, and I just researched the 10 Commandments, which we all learned before and memorized in school. But you know, and I read the first commandment. You know, I am your Lord, thy God. Thou shalt not have any gods except me. You know, in heaven, earth, in between. Right? I mean, we all know that. You know, all the Christians know that. And at that time, it was different. It sounded different, and I just realized, I was like, but we don't really do that as Christians. And I remember the next week I went to school, and I was talking to one of my teachers. She was explaining something about Christianity, and I said, but Miss, we don't really, you know, I mean, the Trinity and the whole issue of, you know, worshiping Jesus, it kind of goes against, you know, the principles of you know, what the Bible supposedly teaches. And she says, yeah, you know what, you're right, but, you know, this is just something we believe. And I remember in myself, I said, you know, I can't believe this. I just can't. And I went home after some time. I took my cross, and
It just went against your very nature.
yeah, it went against exactly that feeling in your heart. You know, you know. I mean, you have it in yourself as to what, you know. You would see a contradiction. You know, there's a contradiction there. So I went home, you know, obviously I wouldn't do that right now, I'll break a cross or anything, but I broke my crosses. I broke all, you know, like icons that we have usually as Catholics or Orthodox, they have icons. I took those away. And I just said, you know what, I believe in God. All religions are equally evil or whatever, they just cause wars, and I just believe in God, and you know, I'll just live my life like that. I'll have my own religion where I'm okay with everyone as long as they call upon God, and I have no problem with praying with all. And I remember even one of my friends, I was telling the Bosnian guy, I was like, we were going on a Toronto trip, and I said, you know, I'll pray with you guys, I don't mind, you know, because you guys pray to God. He says, yeah. He's like, yeah, I like your prayer, teach me how to pray, right? And that's what started it. He actually said, okay, let me teach you how to pray. So, you know, he gave, you know, I gave up Christianity fully. I was, you know, openly saying I'm not Christian, you know, I believe in God, I'm on the religion of God, I would say, you know. And you know, he taught me how to pray. He gave me, you know, Surah Al-Fatiha. And I remember I was, you know, my car broke down at that time for some time, and I was going on the bus. And every time I would be on the bus, I was reading through it. I was like, I will never remember these words, you know? Like, what is Alhamdulillah, you know? I'm not going to remember this, you know? What is Arabic? I mean, why does it have to be Arabic? I would put it in my pocket. And amazingly, it would start going in my mind, you know? Alhamdulillah, you know? I was like, whoa. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, and after some time, easily I memorized it. And I told him that, and he told me, well, actually, this is one of the Quran's.
It's the first chapter in the verbatim word of God, the Quran.
And he said that's also one of the miracles, because I said I memorized it so easily. He said, you know, that's one of the things that Allah tells in the Quran, that, you know, He made it easy for people to remember. Right? And I was like, wow, interesting. And slowly, very, you know, with much wisdom, he'd start telling me about Islam. I started taking different books. I was hiding him, mind you, you know, under my pillow usually, so my family doesn't really know. I didn't want him to, you know. I was a bit embarrassed, you know, that I'm looking into, you know, what they perceive to be this Turkish religion, which, you know, it's a pagan god and whatnot. So I was kind of like hiding it. And I was looking through it, but you know, again, the worldly things caught up with me, and I was pushing. It was a struggle, you know. I was pushing the knowledge, trying to get into the world. I wasn't happy with the world, trying to go back to the knowledge, and I was, struggling with it too. It was interesting. One of the times that I was going to the mosque with my friend, and we were sitting down one time, and one guy comes to us where he knows me, and he saw me before in the mosque, and he didn't see me for a long time, and he comes, and he looks at me, he's like, "Wow, how are you? Did you become Muslim?" And a slip of a tongue, I say, "Yeah." I said, "No." And he starts screaming, "Oh, brothers, this guy became Muslim." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And both me and my friend were like trying to explain to him, "No, no, he didn't become Muslim. He just, I made a mistake." But that mistake was an innate mistake. That was what in my heart I was wanting, right? Like a slip of the tongue in psychology is something that you really think about. It's inside of you, and you can't control it anymore, and you let it go, right? So that's what my heart was wanting, but I was fighting it.
No, go ahead.
And I was fighting it very well because I pushed it again away. And what happened is my friend and me, we went to different schools, and for some time we didn't see each other, right? So that connection, kind of stopped, right? And I got caught up again with the worldly things on the other side. But there was one incident, and I don't base the proof on dreams and stuff like that, but there was one incident that I can't just swipe over. It just catches up with me all the time. That I was sleeping one night after doing my thing and coming home. I was sleeping one night in my bed, and I dreamt that I was partying, and I was in the house, and it was dark, and the scenario, right? And certain person approaches me and stabs me in the stomach. And it was so real. It was what you call like a lucid dream. You can't really tell the difference between reality and dream. And I was hurting, and I was bleeding, and I was holding my stomach, and I was, getting dizzy. And I walked outside. It was very dark, and I heard the ambulance coming. And when I walked outside, it was very dark, and I looked in the sky, and I saw a light in the sky, right? And my soul left, my body, and it was so real that I actually felt it. And as my soul left my body, and it was going towards the light, I woke up. And when I woke up, I was just crying. I was just sweated, like I just came out of the pool. Like I was just sweating. I didn't know what happened. My reaction was like, okay, it's in our culture, if you dream, these kind of dreams, nightmares, maybe something bad happened, right? So I went, checked up on my mom, see if she's okay, see if my brother's okay. Everyone was okay. And I was just sitting in my bed, and I went back, and I was like, I don't know, like, how do I interpret this? And I realized, just in my arrogance, that there is a way out there, and it's not my way. I can't just pick my own way and say, what, forget with this, forget with that. I have my own way. There is a way out there, and God wants me to find it till it's too late. That's how that was just my own interpretation of dream. Not that, I stayed and pondered over it, but I felt it as well, I need to find something. I know there is. I'm just fighting myself, I'm just, fooling myself that there isn't something out there. I just need to find it. And you know what?
So what was that, the logical, rational thing, the overwhelming thing about Islam that overtook you and had you take that step onto becoming a Muslim?
I would say it was what we call in Islam Tawheed, right? The oneness of Allah, of God, the perfect oneness. Because a lot of people claim that they have the oneness of God, but that perfect oneness of God. And also another thing, what we call the fitra, that it fits your humane, your natural disposition. It fits that. And before knowing all these, of course, it added later on to my firm belief. But before I knew, concepts of knowledge of science in the Quran and all these, beautiful things in the Quran that are used today for proofs, I would say what, I could really understand how the Sahabas felt, because they didn't know about all these sciences in the Quran, right? But they had the Tawheed and the Fitra, and that matched, right? So that's where, slowly I came, to link that prayer that I made that one night, that desperate prayer, and the dream, and everything that happened. That's what it was pushing me to. That was the answer for me to that prayer that I made for God to show me, the one true path. And very interesting that as humans, right, insan, you're always forgetting. It was very interesting because I was again trying to fight it, and I remember the day when I gave up. It was the day that again I saw that God sends people to guide you. I saw that Bosnian brother again, and it was in the computer center. He was watching a very famous nasheed everyone watches probably, the Less Breath, by Ahmad Bukhari, right? Yeah. And it's about the body, the soul leaving the body, and it says, and it is true, but it's too late, and it really, when I watched it, it connected everything, and I told, kind of like the next day I told him, I really felt that this is the day. I woke up that day, it was just perfect, walking on my way to the university. I felt that, what, this is it. I can't fool myself, anymore. This is too much. I'm just kidding myself. And I saw him actually on the way from one of the classes, and I said, what, can you please help me with something? Can you come over to my house? I need some help. And he came at night, and, I went downstairs. We went for just in front of the house, and I told him, I want to be Muslim. And he's like, no way. He's like, I knew it all along. He's like, he was so happy. And, very simply, he told me, I'm going to, obviously, what I do. He said, you just repeat after me, right? And he said, Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Such a beautiful, statement, very simple for a person, to become a Muslim. And since that day, alhamdulillah, I've been a Muslim. I thought that that's gonna be, the how would I say, the threshold, when you reach your maxima in your life. I always believed that God had a purpose for me. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning of life.
So now you became a Muslim. You took the declaration of faith, which was Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, which is basically bearing witness that there is only one God. There's no deity worthy of worship except this one God, Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and that Muhammad is his slave servant and the finality of the prophets, just like Jesus, Moses, Noah were all messengers of God. Now you're a Muslim, one who surrenders and submits to the Creator, none of His creation. You pray to Him, you worship Him alone. Tell us, for someone else who's hearing your story, what advice do you have for, doesn't matter if he's Romanian, Italian, Irish, white, black, Chinese, Islam is for the whole world, for all mankind. What advice do you have someone who might be caught up in that grip of cultural barriers? I'm born into this and I can't get out, but he's feeling inside, he feels that his natural instinct, or his natural, what we call fitra, that it doesn't make sense that God is 3 and 1 and all pray and all these other things that they believe. But you know what? He's having a hard time coming over that barrier. He can relate to you. What advice do you give that person?
My advice is, just be sincere. I mean, God, Allah, He hears everyone's prayer, Just be sincere and be open to the truth. There's lots of baggage that you have to push on the side, and that's what I was trying to tell you. There was a fight between myself, what I, my desire wanted, and what the truth was. And that's what Islam is really. Is once you reach the truth, is you're submitting to it. Whether you might not, want to wake up, for example, at 5 in the morning to pray, right? And a person who's seeking the truth, and he might hear that and might not be used to it, be like, oh man, 5 o'clock or 4:30 sometimes, or 4 o'clock. That's your body, unnecessarily. You want to sleep, right? But that's the whole issue of Islam. You go against that desire of the body, because you submit that will to the will of the Creator. And that's the beautiful thing about it, as you explained. That's, the concept of faith in Islam, and Tawheed, and worshipping what you want, If you're sincere and you ask for it, get down there on your knees. Put your head on the ground. If you're Christian, you're not going to have a problem with it, because, Jesus did it, Abraham did it, and other prophets did it. Put your head on the ground and ask. Don't ask in anyone else's name, okay? This will not be something that will go against, your belief either. Just ask the one true Creator. Just say, oh my Lord, Creator of the heavens and the earth, right? Use, oh, the most gracious, the most merciful, the Creator. Show me the truth. I'm looking for you. I want to submit my will to your will. Just show me the light, and without any doubt, He will guide you. Without any doubt.
Thank you once again for being with us on the Deen Show. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I told you, Islam is for everybody. We have interviewed many people from all over the world, different countries, and we just got to interview somebody from Romania. So, inshallah, God willing, you got to benefit. Tune in every week at TheDeenShow.com, TheDeen show.com, for more great topics, great lectures, and more of Islam and Muslims straight from the source. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you.